I don't want to be live on the internet. I just want to do Jupiter at night.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Jupiter at Night. My name is Chris.
I'm Alan.
My name is Jeremy.
Now, tonight's episode, we've got to talk about a solution the world needs. We're going to tackle a worldwide problem, one that strikes us right here at home and is even attacking the good people of China. We're talking about...
Good people.
Well,
Yeah, there are good people in China.
We're talking about
Don't
traffic.
let the media confuse you.
We're talking about cars. We're talking about cars of the future, specifically supercars, technology from... Well, actually, not too far away, and there's been some recent stories that have sort of led us down this path. But before we get into that, let's talk about the problem we're trying to solve. Jeremy, what's going on with this traffic jam?
Okay, those pictures that you guys just saw are pictures from a traffic jam in China being called a super jam that is like, there are cars in this traffic jam moving 3 miles a day.
They say it's not going to be clear till like September 16th.
That is some kind of crazy. How
Hey,
does
that's
this
my
even
birthday.
Hey.
happen? Hey.
Happy birthday. Let's get those cars out of
It's
China.
gonna be clear on beer day.
That guy's sleeping
Oh,
under a
yeah, we
semi.
learned from Thursday. That's
Right.
beer day.
That's why it's going to be clear. We got to get off the road. There's beer to drink.
It's so bad. There's literally people sleeping on the streets over there. And I'm one of these people. I
That have
commute a
slept
lot.
on the sleep.
Well, no,
under these cars.
I think the whole problem with today's roads and traffic and accidents is people. I think the whole problem is people, and you take the people out, and things are going to be better. And there's a lot of
If you
technology.
take the people out, there'd be nothing but stationary cars, just like in China. You are wrong, sir. You are wrong.
Well, you need some. You need to do a couple of things. First up, we need to get off of oil, right? We need to get off of the
Right.
foreign fuel sources.
Well, this kind of traffic jam, I mean, if you can just imagine the amount of fuel that some of those
yeah.
things are chewing up just sitting there running
Yeah.
in traffic.
Well, I assume they turn them off, but I mean,
Well, in this
still.
one, but, you know, traffic snarls that aren't quite this bad have people sitting there in traffic running their engine, moving at
Right.
incredibly slow speeds.
We need robot cars.
Well, so we need to get rid of
robot apocalypse.
We need to get rid of people
I'll get to
behind the
that.
wheels, but we also need to do things like move away from gas. Mm-hmm. And whenever there's a problem in the world, something really important, and you guys will know this. I mean, I don't even really probably even need to say this, but any important problems are always solved by actors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now, do you guys know who Nathan Fillion is?
Yes.
You guys better damn well know.
I think
who
the
Nathan
majority of
Fillion is.
people watching know.
He tweeted out.
IMDb.
He tweeted out that he was working on a project. Oh, I can't get to it. Anyways, he was the, he's Captain Reynolds in Firefly, and he's been in, what's that sing-along blog called?
Oh, Dr.
Horrible's?
Horrible, yeah.
He's been in a
He was
lot
Captain
of
Hammer
TV
in that.
shows.
Yeah, yeah.
He's currently in Castle.
But check out this cool. Now, is this a project he was working on, or what is this?
No,
This
he
is-
just found this thing on the internet and started tweeting his butt off about it. This is an electronic car called the Pulse.
I like the name.
Yeah, it's made by it's a concept car from a company called Arcimoto. It's not like a big company like Ford or Dodge or something like that.
Right.
It's just cool.
It's little.
It is kind of little. In fact, this one that I'm showing a picture of right now is more of a concept. The actual drivable prototype looks a little bit different.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little earlier in its development stages, but it is drivable, which means it's not like that. Sometimes we talk about stuff that's really far away, but this
Right.
one is actually.
That's
that's all
another
the-
actor from Castle, I believe.
That's all the movie Castle. That was what it was.
Yeah.
That's all the moving parts right there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all the major components. Now, the problem is electricity. Electricity doesn't come from a completely replenishable source all the time. There's a lot of places we can get our electricity from. And so to that end, because when actors can't solve our problems, scientists sometimes can. So they're working on converting urine to fuel. Now,
Makes sense.
let's take this a step further. What if all of those people in China who are stuck in traffic could pee into their tank?
That would solve two problems.
Yeah.
Because, for one, they're stuck in traffic. Where else are they going to pee?
Right?
Might
That
as
was
well
piss
refill
jugs.
their tanks.
Yeah, yeah. And what's the second problem?
What?
You said it would solve two problems.
Refill the gas tank.
Oh, I see. That's really two birds with one stone there, Jeremy.
Yeah, it is.
Now, Alan, on your way up here tonight, you volunteered to try peeing into your gas tank.
Yeah, I have a 2010 Hyundai Accent Blue.
Nice, dude. Oh, the
Yeah.
blue means it's fancy.
No, it means it's not fancy.
Oh, my
Oh.
bad.
But yeah, no, it's totally fancy. So I figured it's new. I peed in
totally
it. I had to pee.
You peed right into the gas tank because it's
I got plenty of electrolytes in me.
yeah. You drink a lot of Gatorade.
Yeah, why
I got
not?
one right here, right now, just in case, so that way you can fill it before you head out. Like any good scientist, Alan's going to try it again on the
But
way home.
my car doesn't seem to be working that great, so I don't know what these scientists are talking about.
It could be your piss, dude.
No,
if you
I've been
actually
told my
read-
piss is great.
If you actually tried reading, I know it's kind of beneath you at this point, but this article indicates that they're only able to extrude somewhere between 0.3 and 1.2 volts per liter of urine.
I did read that, and it is a lot more
That's
efficient
right
than
now.
splitting the water just by itself.
Oh, yeah.
So, I
And
mean, it's definitely, it's a start.
the important part, I think, of this, and I am kind of interested in this taking the next step and actually becoming something that people can do, because if you think about it, there's like 7 billion people on this planet.
Yeah.
That's just the people. What about cows?
That's just the people.
Well, I mean, that's just that's cows and stuff like that. I don't really see that happening as much because it's harder to get.
What
Yeah.
if you just
But
had
like
a
in
hose hooked up to them all
the
the
example they used was like an office building. That's just mean. But like an office
already
building with
hoses on
like
their udders.
hundreds
Just put
of
another one
people,
up.
you know,
Right.
And there's the power for the building. You're saving money and you're saving.
So like a little hookup right at your desk,
Yes.
that kind of a thing?
Well, yeah, sure.
Like just a little tube that you, all right.
You don't even have to do
No,
that.
you can just hook
hook it to
in,
the plumbing.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
okay.
don't need to be attached to tubes, Chris.
Chris was talking about this earlier, and he really
I
likes
thought I
the
did.
idea of just being able to pee on your electronics to turn them back on.
I figured. Because
But then your electronics would get all like everything would smell like piss.
Nah, dude.
Honey,
You
the
gotta-
remote's in the battery.
Oh,
You're
my
dying again. Can
phone.
you?
Honey, will you piss on the remote? Honey, my cell phone died. No, you see, because if this really
You just
takes
want your
off,
wife to piss on everything.
If this takes off,
I didn't hear any of those examples where you were urinating.
if this takes off, dude, urine will be considered like a point of pride, and the smell of urine will be like cologne, and so you won't mind pissing all over everything. Because remember, this is the future.
I don't like this world you're painting.
I don't either.
Okay, all right, I know
You are wrong.
I know it sounds bad, but honestly, I have to pee right now.
You want to be hooked up to catheters.
But
You
if
want
I-
you want to
dude,
piss all over everything.
I need to take a leak right now, and if I could throw my cell phone on the floor and piss on it while we're doing Jupiter at Night, I'm multitasking. And then I walk away from Jupiter at Night with a charged cell
But then you've also got a wet spot on your floor.
But whatever it would drip on would also charge. My piss is powered, dude. It doesn't matter.
It's powerful,
It
man.
doesn't work like that. You
Not yet.
He's the one that didn't read the article. I read
Wait,
that.
this wasn't in the article?
No.
Oh, I mean, why would you even bother then? Do you guys want to? Do you guys want to talk about something maybe a little more realistic?
Sure.
Something that's actually coming here pretty soon.
Hit me.
I'm
His
actually-
power is real, dude.
I'm not trying to give a plug for this here or anything like that, but I'm actually genuinely excited about this Nissan Leaf.
I am too. Actually.
Now, it's going to be a little hard if you're outside the U.S. potentially to get it at first. There's going to be 25,000 units that they'll make in the U.S.
well, it's shipped to the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
by the end of 2011.
Outside the U.S., like our homies up in Canada or across the pond, it looks like it's going to be a little harder to get. But this is a fully electric vehicle that you can actually plug into your wall and drive. Battery operated. Gets about 100 miles.
Is this one of the ones that they are setting up the quick charge stations
Yes.
for?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
that's
Oregon
really
already
cool.
has them.
And
The quick charge feature, which isn't available for your home charging, but the quick charge can get you from 0 to 80 in about 80% of your battery in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's
so while you're getting
awesome.
lunch or something.
Right.
Now, the Bay Area in California is also doing a big rollout of these charging stations, and there's some talk of some federal funding.
Breed in the chat room just said, "Wow, that extension cord must be a bitch."
yeah, that's got to be a big one. And then you've got now this one I'm not quite as excited as I am about the Leaf because the Leaf is a fully electric vehicle, but Chevy also has their Volt coming out.
Which is more of a hybrid, more electric.
It'll
right?
stick with electric until you need the gas or something like that. I actually
Right.
don't fully understand it, but I think they were saying like an average commuter's distance before you even touch gas, or like it's only a few drops of gas.
Now, since we
something
did
like that.
mention the Pulse earlier, I'd
Yeah.
kind of like to throw out some comparisons
Yeah, we skipped
between
over
the two.
that, but I would be interested.
The Leaf is aimed. They're aiming for a market price of $25,000.
Right.
I think currently they're closer to like $32,000 for manufacturing costs and all that. But they're aiming to have them for about $25,000. The Pulse is only $17,000. I say only as if I have that kind of money just laying around.
It's chump change.
Yeah.
The Leaf is a full size car though. You can fit 5 people in it.
Right.
The-
Well, I don't know if I'd say full size. It looks small, but you're supposed to be
Like a
able to.
semi-compact sort of thing. But the Pulse can only fit 2. Although it's kind of cool how they fit because you're one in front of the other, and it feels like a cockpit, like a starfighter.
Yeah, that's
I like
fun.
that.
It's like, hey, buddy behind me, let's have a good conversation.
Although we would be a
while we
problem.
drive.
We immediately would have a problem if we had to drive somewhere to Jupiter at night. because we wouldn't be able to fit all of us in the same
true.
vehicle.
That's true. But, you know, like 90% of the vehicles on the road probably only have one person in them. So think of all that extra space that's being weighted. You could probably fit 2 of those Pulses in one lane side by side too.
That's pretty cool.
You know, cut down on traffic jams even more.
Sure. Now, should we talk about, do you want to move on from there, or was there any other comparisons you want to make?
We got more notes in the show notes. Go check them out. I've got links to each of the manufacturers' websites and cool stuff like that.
Because I feel like, really, you guys, between P-powered cars or the real electric cars we're going to get, we've solved a major component of today's car technology.
That's right. Urine solves everything.
Or electric cars.
Sure.
Or that. You know, whichever way, if you want to be a little less practical. But the other problem we haven't solved yet is the human problem. Remember, I said that I believe you need to get rid of the humans in order to make cars perfect.
Humans are dumb.
Humans are dumb, and I think the traffic that I sit in nearly every day speaks to that fact. So Mercedes is working on a fully automated driving system. Radar controlled.
Like in Minority Report.
Exactly.
Right?
Just take a nap while your car drives. That's awesome.
You pop in, shut the door, and say, take me to work, and it just goes.
Yep, and it's going to allow you to even drive on like back roads and stuff like that. As long as it's all radar controlled, the technology can adapt. Now, this is actually an active testing by Mercedes.
Yeah, it's actively being used for like hazard tests and stuff like that.
And they already use it in. They have a technology where if the car senses you're approaching on another vehicle in front of you too quickly, and maybe it thinks you don't realize that based on your acceleration patterns, it will tug on your seatbelt. Just to let you know, hey, you need to start tapping your brakes.
To almost wake you up.
Yeah. And then they also have
They
also have adaptive cruise control where it will automatically slow the car for a bit if the person in front of you if you're gaining on them.
That's pretty cool.
And then Ford has introduced this technology in their Ford Flex for automatic parallel parking. So now you can take the Ford Flex, hit a button or something like that, and Lexus and a few other manufacturers also have this technology.
Yeah,
and they're all using this a very early. And these are in cars now, but they're using this early radar stuff.
Imagine if all of those could start talking to each other and like just direct the traffic around themselves.
Right.
Like,
and
if you're driving down the freeway, or if your car is driving you down the freeway, and somebody starts to merge, and those two computer brains talk to each other and say, "Hey, dude, can I get in front of you?" And they're like, "Sure, dude."
Yeah, and they can work out a lot.
And then I take over and say, "Screw you, computer," and I floor it and I cut him off like he should be.
And then you flip back on the autopilot.
Welcome to Johnny Cab.
I totally think so, because between having, you could have cellular modems in all of the cars, and that wouldn't necessarily be for like communicating in between cars, but then if you could have an always-on data connection, the cars could have real-time traffic and safety information, just like your cell phone can have now. Well, if the car's computer knew that for routing you, that'd be awesome. And then maybe you could have some sort of radio broadcast system that would be secured, so it wouldn't be screwed with between the cars, for them to be able to communicate things like, hey, it's my turn.
Right.
Yeah, or if there's like an accident or something, it'll reroute you based on the best route
and
for you going
Navs
home
can do
or whatever.
that now, but if you bake that into the car logic.
Think of just a regular everyday situation where maybe a crowded city street with a 4-way stoplight. You know the amount of time and efficiency that is wasted by when the light turns green and the humans have to slowly accelerate their car forward? Well, if the computers were controlling all that, they would already know the green was coming, rev up the engine, get ready, and green go.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
You could just take off right away.
And you could also have your car like set to maximum performance versus gas usage mode and things like that.
Yeah.
Or electricity, depending. And then also, one of the problems in traffic, of course, is it's an accumulative effect. When the person a mile in front of you taps their brakes, the person maybe they drop from 60 to 55, but the person behind them has to go from 60 to 50 not to hit them, and the person behind them, and it's a cumulative, this massive wave of slowdown.
Right.
And then you have China.
Yeah, and then you have China.
Boom. That's how it happens.
If the cars could communicate with themselves and say, hey, in 45 milliseconds, I need to hit the brakes. And then all the other cars would go, okay, in 45 milliseconds, we'll also begin braking at the same time.
Right.
Or their radar system would automatically adapt for that.
And again,
you're an American and you're using milliseconds?
Well, because
use the millisystem.
Because computers time in milliseconds. That's why.
And they're training us. The computers are training us.
Computers are training. Okay, I think we need to do a Jupiter Night on this, because Jeremy has recently switched over to a smartphone. You and
got my first smartphone here.
He got an iPhone, and Alan and I have a couple of Android phones here. And one of the things, Alan, you'll probably agree with, is sometimes it feels like you have to retrain yourself, like the device is training you how to use it, not if it's happening to you.
Yeah, totally.
And
yeah, I think that's a show for another day.
I think we'll save it, because
that one.
That is one of those
because
things
I still want to talk a little bit more about this.
Right.
Even though I'm in favor of robot drivers,
Yeah.
how easy would it be once this is widely spread into every single car in the world for them just all of a sudden crash everywhere.
Yeah.
And kill off billions of people all at once.
See now,
Good riddance.
When the robot uprising happens, and it will happen, mark my words.
Hopefully, since I'm welcoming this, they'll
first strike.
recognize me as a friend and know that I'll make a good slave.
now, okay.
I'm worth keeping around.
All right. Now, see, I've already thought of this, and I want you to know I have an awesome solution.
Okay.
For this. Now, I'm going to draw on some of the best horror movies of our time because these kind of themes are kind of horror movie-ish, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And maybe it's not so much. Maybe horror movies are just foretelling the future. But what's one of the key ingredients in like a zombie attack or some sort of end of days movie?
Keep your shirt on,
Okay.
because if you show your
That's great.
boobies, you're going to die.
And you always have that old beat up truck on the side of the house somewhere in the backyard that you pull the thing off and you get in it. By
And
God,
it always starts up.
So, dude, you just hang on to the truck you got now.
I've got that truck.
Yep. Throw a sheet over it,
I just might need to like put some wood paneling or something on it, and I'm set.
and then when the robot uprising takes over all our vehicles, you'll be able to bust out your old vehicle and go bombing around just like in the movies.
Just mowing over them, left and right in the middle of the road.
Totally.
Yeah.
Busting through stuff. Your thing will be all smashed up. You'll be going all like Will Smith style in New York and
I will
Legend.
be John
You
Connor.
know what's a better one?
What?
Get unregistered guns
Yeah.
and hide one in every state.
Especially under the seat of that truck.
Well, you need it. You need your truck to get there, dude.
Well, I know, but
Okay.
then wherever you have to go or wherever you end up
Yeah.
being,
And
It's
you
gotta
got
be
a,
shot.
you got a
actually,
gun.
really,
You got a gun.
until the uprising happens, you could just use the autopilot to get you there. So you make it there to stash your guns in record time. So,
But just don't tell your car
don't
what
tell
you're
your car.
doing.
right.
Just like, hey, I'm gonna have a picnic. Let's go.
Let's go to Idaho.
Yeah.
Come on. We haven't been there yet, car. It's gonna be fun.
Now, do you want to, before we sign off for the night, should we talk about the Lego size?
Well, we were talking about
Lego?
cars anyway.
Yeah.
I thought
I like
just
Legos.
included it because it was a fun looking link. You guys can.
Yeah, you guys can go over the
There's
show notes.
nothing
It's
special.
funny.
It's not actually Legos. It just looks like it.
Yeah, I know. This guy's kind of funny, and there's a whole series of videos of this guy's car and pictures. So head over to the show notes if you want to see.
You know, actually, if you like cars like that, there's, have you guys ever heard of Burning Man?
Oh, yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
whole movement of, people take their cars there and they're called art cars.
Yeah.
They're all,
Oh
like,
yeah, no,
dressed
I know a
up
guy
and-
that's doing one.
Yeah, they're really cool too. I think this would fit in with that if they didn't mind taking it to the middle of the desert and getting it all dirty.
Hey, you know what? We in a whole conversation about future cars and electric cars, we didn't mention like a Tesla. And I actually I used to.
Or the Volt. Oh, you did mention
Yeah, I
the Volt.
did. Well, I used to work in a building where in the same parking lot a guy had a Tesla. It was really cool. It was totally silent. Mm-hmm. It was really neat.
I want flying cars.
Yeah.
Flying robotic cars.
Yeah. I know. That's been
Why
something.
not?
That's been something that's been just
Or-
as promised as video calling.
Or the boat car. They had them.
Yep.
They have flying cars too, but they're more like driving planes.
It's just,
Yeah.
that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah. What about a helicopter?
I want to own a helicopter.
There's
All right.
always the
Anyway,
Gemicopter.
That's always yeah. There's always a lot of options there, but we'd like to hear your thoughts on future of technology in cars, electric cars. Do you think the Volt's going to be a hit? What about the Leaf? Maybe you think Tesla Motors is about to go out of business. I don't know. Let us know. You can head over to JupiterColony.com. There's a section in there for Jupiter Nite. Or, of course, you can always leave a comment wherever you watch this video. And maybe do us a favor if you enjoyed tonight's episode of Jupiter Night or a previous episode. Tweet it out, link it, blog it, email it, whatever you do to spread the word. Like Cat in the Engine right now.
Yeah.
Who's been so cool, he kidnapped his friends. Now, that is commitment.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Locked them in his room.
Apparently they're tied up in duct tape right now with little things holding their eyes open.
Yeah,
so they-
and
Thanks.
massive headphones on watching Jupiter Night. That is a great way to spread the word of Jupiter Night.
Absolutely. I encourage
talk
that
about it for
same string
years.
of actions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. All right, everyone. Well, that wraps up tonight's episode of Jupiter Night. We are live Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Pacific over at jupiterbroadcasting.com/live, and we hope to see you tomorrow night.